Now is the time to focus on banners again. With the new Shield update coming, there is a new level of customization that has not been seen before on the Bedrock version. I mean, sure, armor trims and colored armor is cool, but they're nowhere near as personal as the ability to customize your shield almost fully, and so today I wanted to show you 10 banner designs that'll be perfect to put on your shield, whether it's enchanted or not. But first, I think something really important is to have an area of our world dedicated to banners. This is something you're going to want to do too, and for me, it's going to be this very derelict building across from my armory. I built this to cover up something which was kind of terrible before it, and ultimately it's just a big mess that is a placeholder until what I'm building today, because I want a dedicated banner area. This is important for your world if you want to have lots of banners, because you can duplicate banners quite easily if you have them all visible, and you can also see them all in one place. Because you need a lot of different resources to make banners, but it mostly comes in the form of dyes, which you'll need abundantly, and dyes are really easy to get. Almost all of them you get with bone meal. Want some red dye? Just bone meal a big flower and a big one comes out of it, and every one of those big flowers is equal to 2 red dye. Wow, that's easy. Every big flower can be easily converted directly into dye. But even with the small flowers, if you want, say, a blue dye, which some people do, just bone meal that particular flower and more of it will grow from it, and wow, 4 blue dye with just a single button press. And we can do the same for yellow, for example, which we're going to need a lot of yellow. But there's one thing that's going to be the most important to put out front of this, and it's something to actually represent the banner area. I have these 2 lovely swords crossing to represent the armory, and so what best can represent a banner area besides perhaps a banner? So we'll place down our chest over here, just seems like a logical place to do so, and we'll fill it with all of the weird things you need for banners. You need different types of walls and all these dyes we've been collecting, but then I think we should build a banner to represent the banner place. And what sort of banner would be good for the sort of person who builds a giant statue of their skin wearing a suit in their Minecraft world? I think we all know the answer. Well, here's the deal, but here's how you're going to make some banners. So first things first, you're going to need a loom. A loom is a requirement, basically, to make banners, and so what you need to do is you craft your birch planks, or at least it'll save you a lot of time, and then you craft yourself, or you craft whichever planks you want, and then you craft looms using 2 string and 2 planks. I'm going to make 16 looms because, you know, you can never have too many looms, right? I feel like it's just the block that emblematically represents banner crafting, so we could have one over here, we could have one over here, and we're going to have one where the banners go down there. You know, actually, let's place those now. I think right over here would be a good place. So you can look at the sky, you can look at the lighthouse, and you can also admire 5 banner patterns that are going to go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could put, like, them next to that. And then we'll place the other 5 on the other side. Or actually, you know what? We could just do it right next to this as well. So here's the next set of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's not the number of looms that matter, it's how you use them. And so I'm going to create myself 6 lime wool, combine that with a stick to craft myself a lime banner, as you can see over here. And this is going to be the basis for my beautiful skin, because as you can see, I'm very much green. But no, one of the fun things about banners is basically if you want to have specific detail, it's often best to actually have that, you know, be the main color of your banner, and then fill in the rest for what you want to be. It seems illogical, but let me tell you how this green banner is going to make an ocelot skin. First things first, we put our bone meal in, which is white dye, and we make a big border around it. This is the default one, and as you can see, looking very much like a cat, except no, we go right back in there, and we do something called the yellow fess, or honestly, every one of these things has a name. So this, for example, is the white per pale, but we're just going to refer to things by the easiest way to look at them. But the big stripe going down the middle is what we want next, or if you want to be fancy, the yellow pale. Although I would argue it's the same type of yellow, it's not very pale. And then we're going to take the bottom full banner. This is called the it's called the fess, I think, but whatever. As you can see, now we've got something that kind of looks like a cat. It looks like a very curious cat, but we're going to try again. We're going to throw that right in there. We're going to put a yellow chief on there, which is the top 1/3 of the banner. So now you can see, look, we've got like an ocelot face, except we're missing one key crucial feature, right? And that is the mouth. I mean, right now, this is Toy Cat if I was an Enderman, so we put a little mouth on there, and I think this is where things could be controversial, right? What color should the mouth be? It can't be yellow. Should it be green? Okay, that's a silly looking mouth. Should it be whatever color? I think I've seen a lot of people argue that a cat's mouth is pink. Maybe it is. However, if you look at my skin, right, what color is my nose? My nose is kind of a grayish, I would say, and so we need to find gray. The easiest way to make gray, because I don't think there's a grey plant in Minecraft, is you take some black dye, you take some white dye, and you combine them together, and they become a grey dye, and so what we do is we now throw this yellow banner This is going to be the IBX Toy Cat banner, by the way. If you want to represent solidarity with cats everywhere, this is the banner. Except that looks ridiculous, so what do? We do one last little bottom third of the banner covered in yellow, not grey, because I don't know. That looks like, with grey in there, it looks like me wearing a Bane mask or something. We put a little yellow in there, and boom, look at that. It's Toy Cat, but I think I might have a fun little mustache, actually, is what it kind of looks like. But this is my banner, and let me show you what it looks like. I think it's pretty decent. That is a perfect representation of that. In fact, I love my little representation of that so much. My concerning little cat face, which, again, perfect match, right? It just looks a tiny bit more like a mustache. I like it so much that to represent this area, this banner isn't going to be big enough. I'm going to have to build this banner from scratch. There we go. As you can see, I've got a perfect replica of the banner, minus the banner. Do we have to build that too? I think we do. Although, I think I'm going to change this little nose to be a little lighter grey, because it's looking a little bit like a mustache, and we know that type of mustache has gone out of style for a while, and so let's build the banner now. And this is a fun one because we're going to be hanging a gravity-affected block off here, so what we have to do is place a bunch of string and then jump onto the concrete powder we'll be hoisting on the string. And then hope to dear God there's no creeper explosion or anything that stops this all coming down. But yeah, let's build that banner, but from all the way over here and in giant form, so that people really know what it's all about. This is the IBX Toy Cat banner, and I've got to be proud of it, damn it. Okay, I ran out of white concrete, so I get to look at what I've done so far, and honestly, could be worse, right? I was expecting it to look terrible with the eyes being cut off, but it actually looks like it is just a mostly not filled in banner that's just missing a little bit green, a little bit of white, and a little bit of yellow to go on top. I am relatively surprised. Have I made a decent thing? Let's not say it yet. The IBX Toy Cat banner is complete, minus 4 blocks in the corner. I really like this, and this is going to be the banner that represents the channel, I think. I think everyone needs a banner that represents them or their world or something like that personally, and this is going to be the Toy Cat banner because it's a perfect representation of me. I see precisely 0 flaws of that, and although I could maybe fill in those corners and maybe make that concrete, I think it'd look a little bit better. For now, let's talk about banners that you might like as one to define your world, because I know if I see this banner anywhere, whether grey or light grey, I'm going to recognise that's someone who's a big salmon enjoyer, that's someone who doesn't like to have house fires, because greater than 99% of them happen to people who aren't subscribed to the channel. But let's focus on other banners, because, you know, I've got a bunch of dye. Probably not enough dye, actually. I probably should finish up my dye collection, but I've got a lot of dye, and I'm gonna turn those into banners you might want to buy. Although, seriously, I'm gonna make sure I have every type of dye first, and I recommend doing this, like, in your Minecraft world as a whole, but especially when you're working with banners, like when you need a light grey dye, you don't have to go out and get it. When you need black dye, you don't have to go out and kill a squid. Make sure you get, especially the harder ones, I would say, cactus, smelt those up because you might not be near a desert, kill some squid because you might not be near an ocean, and then make sure you have a decent enough supply of flowers that you can have every type of dye. There's 16 of them in total, so you'll know pretty easily if you've got there. And me over here, what am I at? Like after I make these into, is this cyan I'm going to get or light blue? Okay, after I make this into dye, I've got myself 10 of them, which as we know, 10 is exactly equal to 16. And we're going to start with a banner that represents the cherry blossom biome. As you can see, it's pink like that biome is. Banner is done. Let's move on to the next one. Except you're going to want to customize this, right? And customizing it requires a loom. And I want to like kind of correct a misconception, because I've had this in my own brain too. When they introduce a new banner pattern, I assume that for a loom to work, you need a banner pattern and you need one of those. However, in reality, although it's kind of like upgrading Netherite, where you can use a banner pattern in the loom if you want to, most of the banner patterns, like 90% of them, you can make just using the banner and using some dye. So for example, if you want to make a, I don't know, you want to put a red little cross on this, you can do that with no banner pattern required. However, banner patterns can also be found in the world or traded with, or they can be crafted by simply taking a piece of paper and a more complex ingredient. So this is a piece of paper and this is some bricks. We combine those together and what do we get? We get the field mason pattern, which is going to be surprisingly useful. Or we could, we could grab ourselves a oxeye daisy that is the fun little flower that looks like this. We grab one of these and we grab a piece of paper and we can combine those together and we get the flower charge pattern. And this is going to be useful for our first design because it's a cherry blossom. It's literally a flower, right? So now we can add our pink banner in there alongside our flower charge pattern, alongside the color we want to use, which is blue to represent the sky. And now we get a blue flower on the pink sky. Trust me, we're going somewhere with this. And then we take our flower, which, we actually get to keep our banner pattern. That's nice. Now we take our banner, which has a flower pattern, and we take another piece of dye. God, I just don't have anything for this first one. Okay, I think it's safe to say that there's some brown dye found over here, so let's just quickly grab some. Well, there's none in here, apparently. Is there some down here? There should be some brown. There we go. Plenty of brown dye. Enough, I think, to make a single little leaf for this thing. And now we fly all the way back across the world. And then, wow, would you look at this? Do you see how this is kind of looking like a tree? Okay, you're not seeing that yet? Okay, bear with me. So after putting the big line through the middle of it, now we're going to put a line at the top. So again, this Loom UI makes it very easy to. We're not going to use brown to do so, though. We're going to use pink to do so, kind of covering up some of that blue from earlier. The blue is going to later represent the sky. We just got a lot of steps to go first. So now we're going to use something called the Borgia Indented, which, and here's the fun fact, you're going to need some vines for. So this is why, before doing banners, it's important to have all the ingredients you need, i.e. all of the dyes so you don't run across your world, but also you're going to want some bricks, you're going to want a flower charge, and you're also going to want some vines. You could, if you want to go really over the top, you can get a creeper head, a wither skeleton skull, and an enchanted golden apple. But today I'm going to assume that you're not at the point in your world where you can use those. And even if you could, I think it'd be a real dick move to be like, yeah, just make an enchanted golden apple so you can make a slightly better banner. No, you're not going to go find an enchanted golden apple for that. But you might be able to find some vines. Literally one is all you need because you craft vines and paper together and it makes the Borgia Indented banner pattern. Isn't that nice? You know, I think it's so nice, I'll craft 2 of them. I'm pretty sure we'll never need the second one, but isn't that great? Oh, they don't stack. Isn't that great anyway? The answer is yes, of course it's great. Okay, and now after learning a valuable lesson about preparedness, because we have to leave, 3 separate times to make one banner, we have all of the dyes. Trust me, this is all the dyes, don't count them. That's definitely 16 of them. And then we've got the 3 banner patterns you're going to need, because Borgia Indented is so handy, because it allows you to take a banner that is majoritarily pink, even though you only want it to be pink in certain areas, and it allows you to, if we use some blue right here, make it look like it's the sky. Isn't that cool? Do you see how this kind of looks like a tree, right? Like there's it's kind of got some weird pink on it. How could we fix that weird pink? Well, wouldn't it be great if it was floating on some form of island, perhaps, I say? So we'll place our banner pattern in there. Okay, then we place our green dye in there, and we're going to use this bottom third pattern to make it look like it's the ground. And look at that, we got a cute little cherry tree. If you want to represent 1.20 in your world, this might be the great way to do that. In fact, it's such a good way to do that, I'm going to place it down. Except we could obviously improve this, right? I mean, a cherry tree isn't just a generic brown tree with a pink top to it, and that's where you might require one more banner pattern. We'll come back to this one later. There are ways you can improve all sorts of designs by using slightly more complex stuff, but we'll come back to this design. For now, let's place it down over here as the second banner that we've made today. Oh, it's looking really nice, isn't it? But our second banner is going to represent something that is a bit more universal. Not update themed, not YouTuber themed, you know, you don't care about those things. What you care about a bit more is having something that just represents something cool in Minecraft, and also is simple to do. It's going to require just 3 things. You got your black wool to make a black banner, and then you need some red dye, you need some black dye, and some brown dye. You can use the Borgia pattern, and it will really help you out, because here's the deal. First things first, we're going to make a little white cross. This is going to go across both sides of it, making a kind of black and white Scottish flag. Honestly, by itself, this could represent a cool little clan or something. I always feel like the simple banner patterns are ones that we shouldn't sleep on. But then we're going to place a brown, we're going to place brown dye going on the top in a little triangle like this. Again, look at that. It's kind of a fun little mouth that's being filled up there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make the base of this flag red. This is going to represent the kind of, like health, you could say. There's health on the bottom and there's brown on the top. And I love how crazy these things look until you're basically done. Like, what are we even seeing right now? Except, yeah, we're going to now cover the top of this up, mostly with black. So there's only a tiny bit of brown and a little bit of red. Can you see what we're doing yet? Because I feel like most people probably can't. Most people look at this and say, what the heck have you done, Toy Cat? What if I were to perhaps make an outline around it? Do you see now? We've made a potion bottle. It's a very cutesy little Minecraft potion bottle. I like this a lot. I feel like this could really be a happy little banner to represent that you are a healer. You know, this could be the Minecraft version of the International Red Cross. People can't attack you if you have this on your shield, or it's a war crime, you could say. In reality, people commit war crimes in Minecraft all the time, but that's a different video of mine. Anyway, so what you could do to improve this if you wanted to be even less spottable as a war crime doer is you could place the little border indented around it to make it a bit more curvy, which I think I like, solely because I do have a potion bottle in my world. This could be a great way to represent that, and so wow, we can place that down. Except actually, I like this so much, I'm going to place it there. What happens if you like a banner so much you want to use it multiple times? And here's the answer to that question. All you need to do is, it's relatively simple, make another banner. So I'm going to do so right now. I think it has to be the same color, but I'm actually going to find that out right now on the spot because I think that's the fun way to do things. And then combine the two banners together. Again, I feel like it has to be the same color. Oh, it doesn't! You can turn a white banner into a black banner with all those items on, and you can duplicate all those fun things you just did with no extra dye required. So now one of these can go in the third spot on our banner royale over here, and then one of these can go over to my potion bottle on the other side of my world. Wow, isn't it beautiful how you can represent things in Minecraft with pictures of themselves? Now people see this picture and they know exactly what I was going for. I think it should probably be somewhere slightly less prominent, so it's kind of like a little bit easier to miss maybe, but still, I think that's a fun thing to do. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you agree perfectly. But I love these sorts of representations of things that actually exist in your world. Some people, though, would much rather represent something about their real self, and I'm going to use a loom to do this, but just to show you why the loom is so important, because, fun fact, a lot of people might have learned how to craft banners by placing them in the crafting table like so, and you can still totally do that. If you want to craft a, let's say a line going down the left side, you could do so just like this, for example, but it takes 3 pink dye to make this banner with a pink pale dexter on it, which is fine, that's great, but let me show you this exact same banner now, but crafted in the loom. We throw the white banner in there, we throw a pink dye in there, and then we just find the pattern, so it's easier, especially on a controller or on any other input method, but now we've got the exact same banner, as you can see, they stack together, and that required just 1 of my 18 dye, and so that is why we're going to be crafting them like this. But yeah, some people like crafting things from the real world, and so you might like this banner a lot. We're going to have kind of like a pink Latvian flag by placing stripes on both sides. Then we're going to replace our banner in there, but using black dye instead to craft a nice little triangle at the top here. Then we're going to craft the triangle again, but this time instead of using black, we're going to use white. This using one color and then using another color is a common technique to get these fun little lines. You see how you can still see the black sort of behind that previous one? That's the fun way banner patterns work. The same pattern twice will actually give you very intriguing results, something worth playing around with if you want to design your own stuff. Then we're going to use some light blue to make the little spikes that go along the top here, as you can see, and then we're going to add one last final thing to this banner pattern, and it's going to be things all the way around the edges. I cannot find it. The big border, it's the top left, it's the first one, and boom. Now, this is a lot of people's favorite flag because, you know, there is a whole movement of people and their favorite thing is to represent themselves via flags, you know, something about identity. If that's you, that's a thing you can do. If that's not you, but you still like the idea of love, then you could make the exact same concept, just kind of maybe flipped a bit. You just gotta start by making some pink wool so that you can make a pink banner. I feel like the pink is a fun background for this. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing of using the loom because it's just more effective to place a fun little white dot on there. If you wanna call this white dot a heart, you totally could. I mean, the beautiful thing about Minecraft is no one can tell you what you can and cannot do, but now we just have to do is add a little triangle going through that, but probably made out of pink and not white. But adding a little triangle through that makes you a cute little heart using just 2 simple patterns. It's much simpler to do, but again, like maybe that's for you. Maybe you like the nice simple heart. Maybe you want the heart with all sorts of different colors, because you can use this with any set of colors to make any flag that is 5 stripes if you want to. Or maybe what you want to do instead, although actually before we move into the next step, I think we need to now make a Toy Cat banner. I'm eventually going to make that concrete. It's going to be a beautiful thing that you can stay till the end of the video to watch. I love covering things in water all at once and watching it all change. But what I love almost more than that is making the miniature version of this banner, because if this is going to represent the world, I can't just have one of them, right? I've got to have lots of them. So we're going to make a second version of this banner right now by grabbing some yellow wool, which I am very lucky to have, actually. One of the biggest, or actually it's not yellow wool, we need lime wool. So we're going to grab some green, we're going to grab some white, and we're going to combine the 2 together to make some green dye. I think it's kind of a shame you can't just dye an entire banner, but because of the aforementioned crafting recipe, if you put, say, your banner in there, even if it's not colored, let's put a gray banner in the crafting table here. You might assume you could just turn it red or green or lime if you really want to, but you can't do that because it assumes that instead of turning it green, you want to maybe put like a little green thing in the corner, which you could totally do to make a weird flag. Speaking of weird flags, I actually needed some more bone meal, so I'm glad you're up there, Mr. Skeleton, because I do have some need for you. Yeah, run away. You know I'm turning you straight into white dye. Wait, did I get any bones from him? I don't think I did. You know what, damn it. I don't want an enchanted bow. It's not a very good enchanted bow. I want some white dye. Okay, so using white dye and green dye together, we get lime dye. Wow, that's wonderful. Use the lime dye and the white wool together, which we're gonna have to do manually for some reason. Lime dye, white wool, because white wool can't be dyed. Wow, that's 6 green wool. 6 green wool together makes a lime banner. And now we can make the exact same Toy Cat face from before, but this time we're gonna use light grey dye, because I've learned my lesson. Again, looks a little bit like an out of style mustache. Not sure that's what we want to be representing ourselves with. So one more time for those of you who want to make your own, you start with a white border, which is great because it's the default banner pattern. Then you take out that and you put in some yellow, and that's going to go with a little stripe through the middle. You could use free dye in the middle of the crafting table, or you make one of these. This is already a pretty nice looking flag in some ways, but then we're going to make a little bottom yellow to make sure that the flag gets mostly yellow, and wow, you see how much more improved that is? Then we're going to go with a top yellow too. I mean, we're going to try at least. Okay, there we go. We're going to go with a top part yellow to make the top of the cat's face, because right now it's a little bit too weird for my liking. So top third, this one over here. And wow, cute little eyes, except cute little eyes don't make a cat. What makes a cat is the light grey, not the regular grey, is the light grey triangle, which goes right over here. And then because that's a bit too big of a nose, especially for the other version of me, we put a little, wait, is this correct? This isn't correct. This doesn't feel correct. I think I made a mistake somewhere in there. I think I was meant to do a full half at the bottom for the third step in there, and I made it a partial half. So now we have Derpy Toy Cat. These are all acceptable. If you make Ocelot banners, I know you're a friend of the world, and so now I've got a second one of these, which is beautiful. You know what? That's going in the slot here. This is a banner you might want to make, right? I mean, look how cute it is. It looks like you just really zoomed into my Ocelot's face. Like just, imagine this. Okay, exactly like that, yeah. Obviously zoom in on my face when I say that. Okay, this next banner pattern is for anyone who thinks like, ooh, I don't want to have any like controversial things. I don't want it to mean anything. I just want to have something really simple. And there's a lot of people in the world who do feel that way. So you want to have the lime flower charge, then you want to have a yellow little circle, or orange, or red. I know colors, trust me, I'm pretty sure. You make one of these. I think this is a fun looking like almost sun by itself, but then if you just cut this in half by using the top right of this, then you can make yourself a cutesy little melon. It's weird, it's a white banner with white, but it looks like you can see almost 2 colors in there. This is the way of representing that you don't care about biomes or potions or identities. What you care about is food that heals you one hunger at a time. This is, again, there's something, Are you noticing the diagonal line there, or am I going crazy? Anyway, speaking of things that will make you think like you're going crazy, in case you think like, well, having a melon on a shield isn't really intimidating. I want to have a shield that lets people know, yeah, they're in for some crazy stuff. Well, then maybe what you'd like instead is something based around the color black. A really weird fact about basically, people who play games have a real strong color preference for the color black in all sorts of different places. But one of the weird examples of this is, for example, merch that we sell on ibxtoycat.store. I think it's like a healthy majority of t-shirts come out in black color. I like my black IBX Toycat t-shirt. I'm not gonna lie. But it's a really interesting just fact that like a lot of other people do too, because you don't realize that it's everyone else as well. It's weird then when there are things like that. Oh, speaking of weird when there's things like this, here is my tutorial world. I keep a bunch of black sheep here because I needed so many to craft that. And so it's a useful place to go when you need black wool. And boy, are you going to want some black wool if you want some cool shields. By the way, this banner looks so cool from this angle too. Has to be said. I thought it would look the best from the front, but I almost like it the most from the side. What do you think, Internet? Anyway, speaking of things that you think, you're going to want to craft this black wool into some black banners, as you might expect, because this is a video about banners. If you didn't expect that on this video about banners, then allow me to give you a fun fact, which is that Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada. Wow, that is a fun fact unrelated to banners. Wow, now that I'm not talking about banners, I could talk about anything. Wow, did you know that straight lines are actually a made-up concept? Yeah, that could be true. Anyway, so we're going to make ourselves a little black flag right here. Again, something about putting black on flags is just something that you don't usually do as like a country. It's almost kind of menacing, right? And you want to be menacing, I imagine. And so you're also going to put your flower charge on here. That's right, there's nothing that says menacing more than flower charges, but more seriously, you can see the effect that has. Because most of the flower is hidden, you get this cool up and down arrow effect. And then we're going to use that up and down arrow effect with some yellow going left and right. For some reason, there's a weird bug where once you put in a flower charge, you can't get rid of it. So leave the loom and go back in if you're playing Bedrock. And then we're going to put a stripe going horizontally across this, left to right. So just like this. And wow, now that's like a little cross with some fun details on top of that. Except we can do better than a fun cross, because by doing a cross with the two separate rows, than having this cross, but having this one be made of black, we can have this fun effect where it's a really subtle yellow design, and I like that enough by itself. But let's go a step further, and let's have a border on there. So this is the border pattern, and we're going to make the border pattern out of yellow. And the reason we do that is because, ooh, yeah, look at that. Just the more complexity you add to some things, sometimes it works out for the better, sometimes it works out for the worse. So we're going to leave one more time, and we're going to put one last pattern on there, which is black dye in the border all around the edge. And this, tell me if you disagree with me, this is just a definitive way. I didn't want to do that. Look at this and tell me this isn't a definitive shield flag. We're talking about shields a lot in this video, but this is a banner design that works really well on there. And to prove that, let me stand in front of it and simulate what it's like to have it on your shield. As you can see, oh yeah, looks real good, doesn't it? This is an actual shield design to make your shield look cooler, because the regular shield has these exposed, iron bolts on it. It looks really weak, in my opinion. A shield made from this is going to tell people to be afraid of you, more than, what a shield made from one of these ones might do. Actually, the shield made from the derpy cat face is going to tell your enemies, wow, I watch Minecraft Bedrock videos, I'm immune to house fires, you can't grief me. Speaking of people who are unable to be griefed, if you look at all these designs and say, but we're just going a bit complicated for no good reason, aren't we? Then maybe what you'd prefer instead is taking this black banner and getting some orange dye to go with it. Orange dye can be crafted from red and yellow. For some reason, yellow and blue doesn't work for green, but red and yellow works for orange, so there's some fun color theory for you. Take some orange and then do just fun fades exclusively for this. I think the coolest looking artsy banners are always going to be these ones right here. Just already black and orange, we're looking kind of spooky Halloweeny, aren't we? But if you just add a bunch more fades on there, you can do some more interesting stuff. So we could add a second fade and look way more orange. We could add a magenta fade, but to the top. And wow, now we've got 3 colors moving in there. But then we could say, well, that magenta's nice, but let's have a little bit of black in there so you can see 3 colors in the mix now. Ooh, that's interesting, right? And then we could say, well, okay, after adding the black, now it looks like a little bit too much like 3 colors. And then what I say you do is you add a third color to this. So, I I need some white dye. Oh, you know, actually, let's just, let's not even. Let's just add black dye again, and that can fix things. Or you could add black dye to the bottom, and you could add that kind of like spooky, vaguely purple top. But yeah, I really like this personally. I think it's, I don't know if we've made a difference with the second black, but it looks a little bit like we have. This is now like a spooky Halloween gradient, and I think for most people, just having a gradient on your shield might be enough. But also it can represent like spooky Halloween stuff, it can represent all sorts of other things that you're interested in. I would say the only thing cooler to represent in a banner, especially if you're a subscriber to this channel, is what we're going to do right now. So we're going to throw some white dye in there on the very bottom right here, and that's gonna, It's fun because there's only so few designs, but I also feel like I get like lost sometimes. So bottom 1/3 of that is going to be white now. This is something we can do very easily. Then we're gonna have a little white triangle at the bottom. So is that the last of our white dye? No, it's not. So then we're gonna throw a little white dye on the bottom to make a little triangle. Wow. I think already this looks kind of fun. Looks a little bit like the Antarctic flag. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little light blue dye, which I definitely do have. Yes, thank God. I've got some light blue dye over here, which I'm going to add to the top. This is, again, you really need good inventory management for banners if you want to do these with any effectiveness. Add one of these to the top, and ooh, yeah, that's nice. Then we're going to have a black strip going through the middle, so just a line going straight through like this. And again, now this looks like some weird inverted mountain, but trust me when I say we're going to save this right here at the end, because by putting the banner in with 2 white dye, one going along the top like this, which is nice in my opinion, and then one going as a border like this, then wow, have we just made ourselves a controller? I think we have, right? You see that? You see how it kind of looks like? I'd argue it looks a bit more like a PlayStation controller than an Xbox controller. Actually, it kind of looks like a bat, doesn't it? Well, you know what? This is a great banner to represent. Yeah, I'm a controller player. You could totally invert the colors and it look more like an Xbox controller, or you could pick any color you want. Just make sure you use the base banner and the strip along the middle. But yeah, you can do some pretty fun stuff. So the final banner I want to show you today is actually one of a country. It's a country that's really well known for its food, its people, the sites. It's one a lot of people love to visit every single year, and I figured you might want to be able to learn to make it in Minecraft so you can represent it. Maybe you're from there, maybe you just really like the place. So you're going to start with a stripe going down the left, the pale Dexter, and then you're going to go with a stripe that goes along the right here. So once you throw a stripe on the right side as well, you end up with a beautiful and 100% accurate French flag. It is all absolutely beautiful in its magnificent, isn't it? More seriously though, I feel like if you want to have another banner design, it's worth mentioning that the Wither Skeleton Skull is an item that is not impossible to get. I mean, you have to kill 40 Wither Skeletons to get it, but if you can combine this with some paper, you can make the Wither Skeleton Skull charge. In fact, let me show you the recipe. It's in here somewhere. Wow, look. Just that and some paper, and you get the skull charge, which can be used to do some seriously cool things. One that I've seen, for example, looks like this. You take a yellow, little lozenge to make a square, the diamond in the middle, then you make a red diamond, and that makes a kind of almost flame effect, except it still just looks like a diamond. So now what you do is you cut off most of the diamond by using some black dye along the left of the screen, and then the left of the banner. I mean, it's the left of the screen too, just a different version of the screen. And then we're going to go along the right of the screen as well. We're actually going to go all the way along the right, but no, we're not. We're going to stick with the main one there. We're going to go all the way to the right of it here, and we're going to make a fun little, what would you even call this shape? I don't know. And then all you have to do after this is, okay, actually I lied. We're going to have an entire bottom of the screen like this. This is a banner I've seen online that I really liked, and so I'm showing you it right now, because now, by adding just a single skull charge to this otherwise kind of silly looking banner, right, if we're being totally honest, we can make a design that looks like this. Oh, isn't that cool? Or we can make a design that looks like that. Oh, that's fun too, right? We could make a design that looks like this, although I think that's slightly less fun. You can make, whichever color you make the skull makes a seriously cool thing. I mean, I really like this one because again, like it's got that little flame color to it, and this could be a great banner to represent, say, a PvP area in your world. So this is a banner that I found online. I really, really liked it, but I figured it'd be a good collection to the batch, because ultimately a lot of banners can be had, a lot of fun with banners can be had by playing around, but a lot of designs are ones that you could probably better have by really experimenting and from taking from other people. So if you're watching this video and you like banners and maybe you found the tutorial to be useful and you play around and you make a design you really like, please do send it to me and I'll take 5 of the best banner designs that I get sent to me via Twitter at IBXToyCat, or you can post a video here on YouTube and you can send it. I don't know how you send videos to me, but send me a picture, a screenshot, tell me how you made your banner, what it looks like, and I'll take 5 of the best ones and we can make we can show those off in this very same world. I think it'd be cool to show off your best banner designs, and so we'll just ignore this again. And so I think over here, it'd be fun to have a space for 5 banners. So let's make sure it lines up perfectly. We'll have a banner over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. We're gonna have 5 banners which can show off 5 great things that you have actually made. And so yeah, we'll just place that there for now. This is where they're going to go. It's going to be a fun addition to the world. But for now, I think there's one final thing we have to do, and that is those missing 4 blocks. I can't just leave them, right? I thought I ran out of concrete powder. I was a little worried about that. But apparently, for some reason earlier on in this video, I just decided very smartly to put my yellow concrete powder away here. So we'll put away all our fun banners just for now, and our flower charges and all the dyes, and just there's lots of fun stuff happening here. You need to have lots of storage space for banners and stuff. So now, let's go to the top. We could use some of that, or we can use my favorite ability, which is flying and just hoping you don't hit something, and then we can finish off the banner. The last 4 blocks are in place, and so if we look, yeah, that looks good. Although, realistically, to actually see, I think now is the time we cover this in water, and we say, yeah, I think having a big banner area is great. I like it so much that I'm going to make this into one. We'll place water there. Oh, we'll wait for it to flow on all sides. Do the same over here. Do the same over here. And then one more time over here. And then we'll try and see if we can watch this happen live. There we go. Yeah, perfect. So you can't see anything yet, but in just a few short seconds, you should be seeing something beautiful appear. Oh, yeah, look at that. The eyes are coming out of nowhere now. And then just below the eyes, what's that? Is that a mustache that is appropriately colored and looks like a cat's mouth rather than some dictatorial hairstyle or facial hairstyle? And then what's that underneath it? Is that the bottom of his face too? Yes, it is. For some reason, oh, I think because of the scaffolding, this one thing couldn't be done. But otherwise, looks pretty good, right? We made a beautiful Toy Cat banner, which can now, and maybe always has, represented that you're someone who likes this channel. Because if you are, obviously subscribing is a great thing you can do. All the usual things that YouTubers say, like at the end of videos do apply. But also, this is a great way to do so in Minecraft. I love when I see a giant chest made of chests. It's like one of those things that lets me know someone's a subscriber. But if you want a much more simple way, just a fun, I am an IBX Toy Cat subscriber person, this is a way to do that. Oh, also, I should come back to this from earlier, because this is a kind of lame cherry tree. If you really want to, a thing you could do is you could take this giant cherry tree and you could just get some a glow pattern to add to it. The glow pattern, unlike all the other banner patterns, which you craft yourself, or find in a piglin chest technically, the glow pattern is a little bit more interesting because the glow pattern can only be traded for from a cartographer villager. So you gotta find one of these guys, and you gotta give them all of your paper, and then you gotta, once you've given them all the paper in the world, you gotta give them some glass, and then you can give them some compasses too if you really want to. And then once you've gone through all of their trades, you can get the banner pattern off the globe. Or you can also buy some banners, whether they're light blue or... They vary from color from villager to villager, so if for some reason you value emeralds more than you value wool, you like having villager farms, but you hate having sheep farms, you could buy your banner patterns, and every single cartography villager is going to give you slightly different colors. So wow, do I want to get red banners? That's totally an option. Do I want to just sell him my paper? That's an option too. But yeah, this banner pattern, the globe, the thing, is really, really useful because it's going to allow me to make my... Again, this tree is fine, right? Like, this represents a cherry blossom, but adding a globe to it, despite it not being one of the 3 that we said in the video, will really improve this a lot. Okay, doesn't this look so much better with the globe pattern on there? You kind of make the stem look a little bit more curvy, like how a regular tree looks. And now, wow, just like that, we have a slightly better representation of the biome, just like how this looked better with the slight curved edges, you might argue, or how this would look better if the nose wasn't midway between the eyes. But almost everything can look better in some ways, and I hope that this video has made you slightly better with banners, or at the very least, just taught you how to craft one that you find is interesting, because you're going to want to put it on your shield, and that's something I'm looking forward to doing. As I record this, it is not currently possible. It's happening as of the next update at time of recording, and I'm really excited for that. If you like updates, maybe you'll like the rest of the videos in this Update Adventures Let's Play, where I'll be doing things like, oh yeah, I have to destroy this wall so my banner's more visible, but I'll be doing things like destroying walls and building tutorial worlds, and if you want to see more stuff like that, make sure to subscribe. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.